First, I'd like to bring up stage the president and founder of Woodhall Capital, an organization that is dedicated to bridging the gap between clients and global financial partners, investors. And in recent times, I've come to learn about her that she's genuinely passionate about the creative industry. It says, obviously, why they are the lead sponsors of Lagos Canvas. Please join me as I make welcome the gorgeous, delectable, amazing, ever-inspiring Mrs. Mojisola Hunponu-Wusu. A round of applause for her as she makes her way to the stage. Thank you. All right, you look absolutely beautiful. Now, I would also like to invite on stage a global star that needs absolutely no introduction. Because how do you introduce someone who keeps carpenters on their toes, always breaking the box office? Please make welcome the one, the only Funke Akindele. A round of applause for her.
This is Jennifer. Drop it like it's on. Top page on the beat. Tinini I signed you.
Top page on the beat.
I want to rap right now. I want to rap right now.
All right, thank you. Now, we did say that tonight was not for too many speeches, but we must have this conversation because we know that financing is very crucial for the creative economy and for the creative sector. And it's something that has been, somewhere in the middle, and we've all just been, talking about it here and there, but now someone has taken a bold step. And thank you. Thank you. Someone has taken a bold step, very audacious, and we will be talking about the Creative Bank. But just before then, can you indulge me by giving a resounding applause to these phenomenal women who continue to inspire us in their various walks of life? Thank you so much, Funke Akindele, and thank you very much, Mrs. Mojisola Hunponu-Wusu, for agreeing to do this. All right, very quickly, without much further ado, I will get on with the questions. And I'll start with you, Mrs. Mojisola Hunponu-Wusu. You are at the helm of affairs of a company who is the lead sponsor of Lagos Canvas. But my first question to you, and it will be a two-part question, right? So it will be in A and B, but you can answer both when you're responding. My first question to you is, the African financial ecosystem has evolved a lot over the years. Why exactly do you think that a creative bank is the next big step? Because, when you think about it, a creative bank, that's interesting. So we want to hear about it. That's part one of the question. And now part two, what inspired you to venture into this audacious, initiative, I must say? So two parts. Why do you, when we consider the evolution of the African financial ecosystem, why do you think the next big thing is a creative bank? And then what inspired you, what motivated you to take on this audacious task? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And good evening, every single person here. Good evening, Your Excellency, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Good evening, my darling Auntie Mo. Thank you for putting this together. And I think it's clear that when you have good initiatives, funding follows, and people follow true passion. Good evening, my darling Auntie Toke Benson. Good evening, and thank you for being here this evening. I would also like to thank a few of my aunties in the room. Auntie Biola Otufale, good evening. I don't think there's ever been any event that Woodhall Capital has put together that I don't look into the crowd and see you. So reassured. Good evening, my Auntie Mosun. Good evening, every single person here, my darling Auntie Ekwa. Thank you so much. You look beautiful, as usual, and shiny. Good evening to all the directors of Woodhall Capital. Thank you for coming on this extremely exciting journey with me. Thank you, Mr. Chinedu Onya, for being here, director on the advisory board of Woodhall Capital. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Mr. Shola Olowoyeye, who is here. I don't know how you're able to be here. Thank you so much. And I thank you, Mr. Chris Ofikulu of Polaris Bank. Such a pleasure to be here. Every time Woodhall your baby sister company calls, you step out to support us. I thank all my lovely, beautiful friends, Funke, Tutu. Thank you so much for being here. Our directors on the creative venture, the chairman of Woodhall Finance, Mr. Henry Sonyaolu is here, and I just want to thank you. It's important that I thank the stakeholders who, this is not our traditional space, but every time I've come up with a venture and I've tried to explain to them why we should be here, they've supported wholeheartedly, so thank you. I'll take your second question first. Why now? And I always say this to every single African. I was talking to my daughter the other day, and I said to my daughter, do you know that I'm grooming you to be a captain of industry? So I want you to go into school, she's doing her A-levels this year, knowing from now that there's a huge market waiting for you. I'm grooming you to be an African captain of industry. There's nobody that can tell the African story like an African. Nobody's coming to save us. I say this all the time. Nobody is coming to save us. If we don't stand up and build our own tables, and I always say when people ask me, why are you doing this? I said, if not me, who? If not now, when? All the countries that we admire, their forefathers paid the price for the success and for the amazing things that you see. We are somebody's forefathers. And so we'll pay the price. And I say to people, if you go to somebody else's parents' house for the Christmas holiday and you love their house and their chandelier, at the end of Christmas, are you not going to go back home? Is that person's father's house your house? When the person's father is writing a will, would he leave you because you came to spend time in their house in the will? No. So home is where your solution is. So the question and the answer I say is, if not Woodhall Capital, who will do it? I woke up this morning and I said to God, how did I get here? And he said to me, I made you for such a time as this.
Thank you. Thank you.
A creative bank is needed because every single time I see creatives be validated only when they have overseas success. So you can have a #1 hit song here, but we've been programmed to think that's not success until people abroad validate you, until you speak a certain different way from the way that you may even feel like. And that's because funding dictates the tune of what people do. And so there's not an African funding, and I brought the big boys of funding here with me today, so I'm not speaking only from a Woodhall Capital perspective. But if the funds don't follow your dreams and your passion, your people will sell out. That means, and I asked them to play the song Funds, every time they feel like imbibing the African spirit, but the funding decider doesn't look African, they will sell out. They will do what's, and it says, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So it's important that an African funder or a group of African funders fund, back, support, posture behind the African creative. That is why it's important that we support and we create an African funding ecosystem that backs the dreams of the people in this room. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please give her a resounding applause. The passion with which she speaks about the creative industry is palpable, and I love it. And I've sat with her in a couple of days, and I've just enjoyed listening to her share this dream with me. Such an honor. Now, I will ask Funke Akindele a question, but before then, let me just state that at some point we will take about 1 or 2 questions from the audience, because, of course, this is it's not a one-way talk show. We want to hear from you as well, because we want to hear what the pain points are and what your concerns are when you hear of a creative bank. But we do have limited time, so we need to move very fast. Funke Akindele, you have such striking strategies to market your films, how are you able to connect with all generations? So generation A to Z, literally, you can connect with them and everyone buys your marketing strategy. What is the push? And how can, creatives who are listening to you learn learn from you?
Okay, thank you, Moji. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Governor, my Governor, Your Excellency, sir, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Thank you so much. Honorable Commissioner Ma, Mrs. Toke Benson. Good evening, Ma. Auntie Mo, my sweetheart, Auntie. Good evening, everyone. For me, I stay true to my craft, you know. I'm very original, you understand. Originality really matters. And how will I put it? If I can say I practice blue ocean marketing, like I move away from the norm, you understand. I sleep, I eat, I drink social media. Like I doze off watching content. So I know what the different demography want. You understand? I know what they want. The young people, the high class, the middle class, the low class, grassroots. You know, that's my forte. I'm into the grassroots big time. And while we're practicing the digital marketing, we also go out to the street marketing. You could see that with Everybody Loves Jennifer. We went to the market with the big umbrellas for market women, for meat sellers. We brought out T-shirts, you know, high-class merchandising, to the shoes, to the bags, just moving away from the norm, studying what people want, what the audience love to see. Few months ago, I sat down and I watched somebody say, filmmaking is not about dancing. And I'm like, okay, fine. I love dancing. I just started dancing and everybody loved it. You understand? Moving away from the norm. That's just it. Studying what your audience wants, feeding them with it, being original. That's what works for me.
Amazing. A masterclass right there. Thank you very much, Auntie Funke, for sharing. And again, congratulations. Highest grossing film ever out of West Africa. Congratulations. And thank you for just shining your light. She deserves a round of applause, doesn't she? Thank you, Auntie Funke. You're amazing. Thank you. Now, we must talk about creativity and profitability, because we can't just assume that the creative bank is just going to be funding, because there's something we must consider, the profitability of it. So my question to you, Mrs. Wusu, is what's your vision for bridging the gap between creativity and profitability?
My vision is exactly what I'm doing here today, draped in things that I don't wear typically in banking, is to get closer to the creative industry, to make bankers feel uncomfortable so that we can understand. We reached out to you today, a few hours ago, and very kindly I said to her, I don't want to have a financing conversation if I don't have the box office queen. To show you who we are looking at are people like this. I understand she said she was in the middle of filming. She dropped everything to push the industry forward. These are the kind of people that we're looking for. The kind of people that we know that when we put our money with them, they will drop everything to make sure it's successful and that you get your money back. That's the answer to that. Driven, structured, entrepreneurial creatives are who we're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for her. Before I come to Auntie Funke Akindele, I'll ask you another question because we need to wrap up very quickly and take questions from the audience. Okay. What legacy are you hoping to leave with this bold step with the Creative Bank launch? I mean, because we're going to launch soon. So what legacy are you hoping to leave?
As I said, I was talking to my children and I said, and I think this is why, for me, apart from this Woodhall Capital, we're a financial services firm. We raise international funding for banks, for corporates, and for governments. And the legacy I want to leave is that the children out there, I want them to be proud to be African. That's the legacy I want to leave. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, to Auntie Funke Akindele, What is your advice to, I mean, you are an accomplished creative. What is your advice to creatives in the room, in the garden here, who are looking to attract investors now that we have the Creative Bank launching very shortly? How do they prepare themselves to be attractive to investors?
Thank God for the advice my late mom gave me back then. Mom would tell you, you will always fall, you always make mistakes, but just brace up. Do not forget the daughter of whom you are. You understand? So when I remember that, no matter the distraction, you know what you want to get. Stay focused and stay original. There's nothing bad in you watching your competitors. Are you with me? It's very important to study your competitors, right? There's nothing bad in checking your role models out there. You know, checking what they have in the Western world. Can you Africanize it? It's very, very important. Staying true to your craft. You surely get it right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Words on the Marble. On that note, we have officially come to the end of this expanded fireside chat. We can take one question from the audience, just one. Okay, first hand up. Can we have a microphone to her? Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. All protocols observed. My name is Brenda Fashugba. I'm the creative lead for creative economy for the British Council across sub-Saharan Africa. So I work in 16 countries with creatives. And my question is for you, Madam Moji. You said structured, I'm sorry, I don't remember everything, but in reference, Funke was your reference in terms of creatives. But when we look at our market, you know, she's one in a million. You know, very accomplished, but she's one in a million. The reality is that a lot of young African creatives don't have the capacity nor access, you know, to resources, networks, and all whatnot. And I know she started, I mean, I've followed you since I need to know, so I know you started from, you know, where you started from. But my point is, as a creative bank, how are you catering to that demography that is unstructured? I work in development, so that's why I'm really asking this question. There are going to be a lot of people who don't know anything about debt, who don't understand equity, you know, so I want to know, what are you doing to cater to the mass?
Thank you so much for that. I get asked that a lot. Thank you. I get asked that a lot of times when we talk about the creative venture that we are undertaking. The first thing I would say is that a lot of young people need to know that you can't beat experience. And I, till today, have mentors. I intern under them. I go to Mr. Ofikolu's office regularly to be mentored. So where Woodhall was not structured, I found mentors and I worked under them. I worked in the bank for 3 years to get the structure, to get the track record. I try as much as possible not to show entitlement. He doesn't owe me to support me. You need to show the character of someone that should be supported. If you don't mentor, if you don't find a mentor and be a mentee, you wouldn't know what building a structure is like. So if you ask me, and as I say this to all the creatives, I have a lot of creatives around me. My stylist is here, my makeup artist is here. They're all here, small SMEs. We have an SME fund. And what I say Woodhall will do first in the industry is capacity building. We're going to help you to understand that experience and track record, you can't beat it. As passionate and as visionary and as gifted as you can, funding follows structure, not passion. So I worked under that institution for many years, and it was only after 10 years that I could start a bank. So the truth is that you need to find mentors that will teach you, or find people who give you capacity building. If anybody tells you that you can access funding from empathy, they are wasting your time. The track record is needed. The the structure is needed, the financing and understanding financing. And what Woodhall is saying is, we will be capacity building. And don't worry, we're not here for the big stars only. I've known Auntie Mo for 18 years before we could do something like this together. So there's relationship building also, which takes time. To access markets, it takes time. And what I am very careful to say is, Woodhall will not be able to fund everybody's dreams. We'll find the people, first and foremost, that we have a relationship with. We'll find those who have structure. Would encourage those who don't have structure by giving some level of funding for capacity building. But if anyone tells you that you can jump and pass the track record and the experience part, I stand here humbly to say it won't happen. Thank you.
Real talk, real answer, real people. Thank you very much. On that note, we have officially come to the end. We'll take a picture, and I would invite before I hand over to our amazing, wonderful compere Mimi, yes, please, a group picture. Can we